Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining in today. We'll start in roughly a minute. All right, let's begin. I hope you can all hear me very well. If you have any questions, you can always post in the chat window or in the Q&A section. So, good morning once again. My name is Samuel Kumar. I'm the training manager for Hanwha Hanwha Vision, Middle East and Africa. Right, so I'm your presenter today, and today's training course is on Wisenet NVR, Wisenet recorders, right? Previously, we talked about Wisenet cameras. So, uh, we as Hanwha Vision, we are a solution provider, and to provide the solution, we have different product profiles, products that we manufacture. Okay, so you as pre-sales, you're involved in the design, so you are building the BOQ for the project. So you are required to know what are the technologies that we have, how do you choose our product, how do you build it in compliance with the specification, local regulation, and so on. Okay, so today we will see the recorders part to and focus on the NVR. To be more precise, we'll be focusing on the NVR. Okay. Now, a bit of a brief about our company. I can see many people have joined newly who have not seen before. So I'm going to cover a brief about our company. As you can see, overall, ha- me as Samuel, I work for Hanwha as a group. Okay. Now, Hanwha as a group, we are simply put a $60 billion US uh, company, annual revenue, and with a history of over 70 years in business. So it's founded in 1952. Okay, and on the right side you can see 93 affiliates. So I belong to one of the affiliates. So there are, you can say, there are 93 plus subsidiaries under the brand name Hanwha. Okay, one of the subsidiary is called Hanwha Vision, which manufactures and provides CCTV security solutions. Okay, all right. Now, globally, as a company with this revenue, this many global presence, we are ranked 306. So our Fortune 500 ranking is 306. Compared to other brands in our field, we are much higher in terms of revenue. We are also much higher in terms of global presence. Okay, all right. Okay, so now let's dive into today's topic directly. And one more point I was talking about as a solution lineup. So we are covering the second part today, recording and management analytics solution. Within that, we are covering one section called NVRs. All right. So I have today a brand new set of slides, which was given to us recently from our marketing team. And it's quite interesting that we will cover the latest on the recording features, latest in the models, and how to do, of course, the storage calculation and so on. So let me introduce you that we have a different series of NVRs, recorders. Now, if you take a project can start from 4 camera and it can have 4000 cameras also. Now, we have products which can cater to smaller segment as well as large segment. Okay. So when we talk about small segment, there are many things, especially when it comes to providing the features in a small set, in a small box. It is a bit challenging, right? And at the right price is a bit challenging. So that's where our expertise comes in. For example, you may require a 4 channel NVR probably for a small retail, but it should also comply with the regulations. It should also meet the local standards. It should also have analytics and artificial intelligence integration capability, remote viewing capability, and other things. So it should be feature rich. It should not be like something you get out of a supermarket. Okay. So you can see that every product that we have, it doesn't matter 4 or 100 plus, the interface, it's all developed from the same location, same factory, same engineer. So you will see it is equally having the same feature set, as well as also the interface is the same. You don't have to think, okay, smaller NVRs, it require a different course, another NVR require a different course. It's the same interface and it will have the same set of features across the board. Okay. Now, of course, smaller segment projects may not need failover. So of course, in that case, you would go with the medium segment or large scale segment products. Okay. Now, how have we categorized these products is we have put it as 3 major series. Okay. Right now we are focusing on recorders. We have put it as 3 major series. Okay. You might see that it's starting with PXQ. Okay. Now read it from the right side as Arabic. Okay, Q is your entry line, basic and widely used. Excellent, X is your excellent in a variety of specifications. Okay, we will see that because uh, let me tell you, most of your projects will be X series. 99% of your projects will be X series. Q, it's up to 16 channel. You can see on the right side, it says up to 16 channel, number of channels. So I know most of you are not working on smaller projects. So directly you would start with X series. Now the thing with X is it is not 64 only. It has 32. It has 8 channel. It has 4 channel as well. So it supports all the channels from 4 to 64. Okay. Then on the first item, that is the P series. Okay. It clearly says it is deep learning AI. So this particular NVR is capable of converting a normal camera into an AI based camera, artificial intelligence based camera. Now, when you go back and look at your specifications, you won't see a CERA regulation or MCC regulation asking for deep learning today. Maybe in the future. So P series, it is there with deep learning. That means that NVR itself can do the conversion of a camera. um, Again, for some of you are confused on this point, we have both. Cameras also have artificial intelligence on their field, on the edge, inside the camera itself. But there are some projects, they have cameras without AI. They already purchased. Maybe 4 years back, 5 years back, they already purchased. But they want to have artificial intelligence. They want to be able to do person detection, car detection, truck detection, color of the shirt detection, so on. We can do that by just adding our NVR, P series NVR. The NVR itself will do the conversion. Okay. So today, roughly speaking, most projects don't need that at the moment, but it is available. So in the between, that is the X series, that's where most of the projects will lie. Okay, I will also tell you why, and as we move forward. Okay, next, hard disk options. In the X series, you have from one hard disk. So if you're recording a 4 camera, you don't need 16 hard disk, right? So one hard disk option, you have two hard disk option, 4, 8, and 16. Now again, this flexibility is important because in some places you're only recording 30 days. In other location, you're recording 90 days. In some other place, 120 days. All right. So, hi Imran, you have a question? You can unmute and ask.
Yes, sorry, Samuel. This is the thing I was about to ask. You said, other regions we have more requirement for storage, like
Yeah.
usually 20 days. So 10 TB will not be sufficient. So we have any other JBOD or content with controllers and JBOD series kind of thing?
Okay. 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 I will cover that briefly. There are, see, there are two sets of recorders available. Um, just so you asked, let me open that short slide. Hold on, just a minute.
Yeah, because usually, 10 TB, what I feel is like very minimum. So how
In
we
that
can expand
project
that.
which you're talking about, does it have 64 channel or are
So
you or 100 channel based?
64, even if like 64, so we increase the NVR, say,
Uh-huh.
talking about the capacity, how do we increase the capacity? Sometimes,
Okay.
camera is 100, but minimum sometimes one camera needs 2 TB, something.
Mm,
So we will go up to, say,
okay.
2 terabyte.
NVRs also support expansion. So if you are, I will, when I open the data sheet, I will explain that point in that case. Yeah.
Or you can continue later on, you can cover. You can
Yeah,
continue.
no worries.
So, thank
Okay, so back to the slide. So X series NVR, currently you can see. Okay, by the way, for just to give us one more clarity point, here we are talking about NVR, right? NVR, it says here up to 64 channel. So what about 100 channel? What about 200 channel? That is also available. That is part of our server lineup. So we have this server lineup, which is 128 channel, 360 channel. These are Windows based recording servers. So today we are focusing on the NVRs, which is up to 64 channel. Okay, now that is one point. The NVRs of it says here up to 10 terabyte. Okay, understood. There are options to expand it, which I'll be explaining. On the server side, it is slightly different. These guys can go up to 16 terabyte per hard disk, and they also have expansion option as well. Okay, now just getting that point outside. Now let's go back to the NVR. So next, at the bottom you can see type RAID 5, RAID 6, RAID 5, RAID 6, and then PoE. Q is your entry line. Of course, for a 16 camera, you may not require a RAID in that project. If you require, no problem. We will jump to X series 16 channel, which will have RAID option. Okay, if you don't require, go back to Q. There is option for 16 channel without RAID. Second point, built-in PoE. It is available in both Q and X. What is built-in PoE? Simply you can plug your camera directly behind the NVR and you don't need an additional network switch to power or PoE switch to power the cameras. Okay, then P series. Here you don't have, you cannot expect PoE based NVRs and so on, but you can expect RAID 5, RAID 6, redundancy, failover, all that you can expect. Okay, now failover. What is failover? If one unit fails, you want another unit to take over. Okay, so if you require failover, X series onwards, you can have failover for the NVRs. Okay, now a question comes: if I have 10 NVRs, how many standby NVR is required? 1. So one standby NVR can handle up to 32. Okay, let me rephrase that. One standby NVR can handle up to 32 active NVRs. So if you have a project of 20, you can have one standby NVR. But having said that, as a security design person, uh, you can go technically 32, but as a best practice, you would give which is right for the project. Okay, so if you're giving a failover n plus 1, you have to put a benchmark and say, okay, every 500 cameras, I will give one failover NVR, or every 600 cameras, I'll give one failover NVR, right? So when you say 500, that is roughly 8 or 10 NVRs, depending on that project configuration, you will give one standby. Okay, so that is the best practice. So although technically, yeah, we support 32, and just because we say we recommend doesn't mean we don't support 32. We support 32, but you have to follow the right design for the project. Okay, for example, let's say a project requires failover and you have 9 NBRs. Okay, you can give one standby, n plus 1 failover, right? So 9 plus 1, 10. Maybe the same project requires 10 NVRs. So no problem, you will still give one. But if it has maybe 15 NVRs, in this case, it is wise. It is a right design that you split. So if it is 15, for every 8, you can give one standby NVR. That makes sense, right? So it gives you that flexibility because we can support up to 32. So you have to make that design from your end. Okay. Next. Failover. Okay, then we will see the rest of the points in the coming slides. All right, so installation visit. Okay, okay, so this is for those who are on the field. So when you have an NVR, you can configure the NVR. That means you can set it up either by directly connecting behind the NVR or over the web page. So let me pull out one more slide to explain this point. Part, here we go, part 3. Okay. Okay, so look closely. So this is how the NVR looks like. It's a very new design. It's quite heavy, and for the purpose that to handle vibration from the hard disk, because all the hard disks are running continuously. So now we have followed the horizontal method. Previously we had the vertical hard disk placement. Now it is horizontal. This is our new design, in-house developed, engineered, manufactured. Now if you look at the back side of the NVR, you have two power supplies. This is optional. Okay, some of the NVRs will have only one, some will have two. It depends on your project requirement. Then you have two HDMI ports, right? Okay, what is the purpose of this? You can directly connect your monitor behind the NVR and do the monitoring. It is not required that you must buy a client PC. So if you have only one NVR in a project, you can directly connect the monitor, get the interface, live view, playback, export, events. You can see all of them together. Okay. Then network ports. We have multiple network ports. It can be used for redundancy. It can be used for splitting the traffic. For example, you have cameras in network one. All the supervisor operators, they can be on a different network, uh, network two. Or if you want to connect the internet over the external internet or over the Wi-Fi, you can have it split. You can have the viewing over the public internet if required, right? So you have the option to use this network port as you like. So flexibility is available. Then again, on the right side, you can see some more ports, green color. Okay, this is interesting because many times customers wish that okay, I need to have one relay contact near the NVR side. Okay, so for that they don't have to buy one camera near the NVR. In the NVR itself, there is a relay contact available, relay inputs, relay outputs. You can use it as you like. For example, let's say the NVRs are stored in a cabinet, network cabinet. If someone opens the cabinet, you need tamper alarm, right? So that tamper alarm can be directly wired back to the NVR. Another scenario, let's say the NVR, some hard disk has failed or require replacement, or some camera has gone offline. You need a relay contact to send it to probably a third party system, a BMS system. You can send that relay contact directly from the NVR. You can take it and send it to the BMS. Okay. What if there is a fire alarm? They want to send an input and they want to pop up a camera, right? In this case, excuse me, just a minute. All right, apologies. I'm expecting a delivery of my passport, so I may have to break one more time once the delivery person is here. Okay, so we're talking about the relay contacts. So let's say fire alarm integration. Okay, so just because the fire alarm panel is somewhere in the control room, you don't have to put a camera there just for integration. If the you can directly take it in the control room directly to the NVR and plug that alarm input, and you can pop up a single camera or a group of camera as you like. So all that flexibility is there. Even audio is available if you want to do some audio recording. It is available as well. Okay, so what about the operator? If the operator wants to listen to the audio in the NVR itself, there is a audio out. He can plug a headphone and also listen to the audio from the camera set. So when you talk about features, you will not see our NVRs lacking in anything that is needed to comply or needed to fulfill the projects. Okay, why is that? Because when you go and look outside, there are so many NVRs in many brands that I've seen, so many limitations. It may be available in one NVR, the other NVR doesn't have it because oh you bought a lower end. It's not like that for us. Okay, I've seen also where it says 16 channel NVR, but each cannot be more than 2 megapixel. I've seen that in other brands. For us, no. Every if we say 16 channel, each can be 4K camera, no problem. Okay, so this flexibility, this design, it's available in us, to, and you don't have to worry about these small things which you have to take into consideration. Okay, with other brands. Okay, now let's go for the next one. So I did mention something about the PoE. So you can have a quick look here. This is how it looks. Behind the NVR, there are PoE ports. Now, one point, it is up to 16 channel. So Q series, X series, 16 channel NVRs, you have option for built-in PoE ports. Okay. Then also talked about failover. So you can see standby NVR monitors normal NVR maximum 32. So one can handle up to 32. You can use 8 is to 1, 10 is to 1, 12 is to 1. What is the best ratio? You can use accordingly. Next is ARB. Okay, good point. I have a question here. All PoE port, what is the power? Okay, the power budget is mentioned on the data sheet, but I will like, give you one easy way to remember. Both X series NVR and Q series NVR supports PoE option. Q series each port supports PoE. X series each port supports PoE plus. Okay, so the power budget of X series 16 channel is probably 200 watts, and Q series will be 100 or 80, 90. Depends on that specific model. There are 2 3 models within that 16 channel. Some will have slightly higher, but roughly speaking, all ports PoE in Q series, X series, all ports supports even PoE plus. Okay, all right. Next is we're talking about ARB feature. Where is ARB? Okay, this is a feature generally asked for certain banking projects and also some projects where compliance is required. It is part of the specification. Some consultant has put it as part of the specification. So the feature, what is the expectation? Most of you already know there was a big trend some 5 6 years back. Everyone is talking about it. Camera and SD card. Camera records on the SD card. If there is a network connection failure, um, it will continue to record on the SD card. Once the connection is restored, that video will go back. It's available today. We are using it in two projects, I believe, in Saudi. Bank Al Jazeera is using that feature. But of course, in this case, you have to give external power supply as well as PoE. You need two power supply options for the camera. So this is available. Okay, I'm just a second. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. All right. So to summarize, what did we learn till now? We learned that, okay, about Hanwha, we talked about our company, and that's fine. Next, we saw in the recorders, focusing on the NBRs, there are three series, QXP. Q is your entry, roughly 16 camera it supports. X series from 4 channel to 64 channel. P series, it is also 64 channel, but it can convert a non-AI camera to AI. There are some conditions, we will see that later. Okay, hard disk wise, yeah, X series can give you more hard disk options. Q series will be smaller hard disk. Okay, then RAID 5, RAID 6 all starts from X series onwards. Redundancy, failover, it all starts from X series onwards. Okay, okay, now let's go back. Okay, okay, I'm going to go through this installation visit. Uh, some of you may get points related to compliance from this. For others, it may be useful, may not be. It depends on how you take it. Okay, so installation visit, basically, how do you set it up? So, okay, there are two ways of recording in the NVR. Okay, there are two ways of record. This is a very interesting feature. Just believe me. Uh, any normal NVR, let's say without rate, you're recording normally without rate. Yeah. Okay. You have 64 cameras. All right. How does it work? First, all 64 cameras will record in, if you have 8 hard disk, it will record in the first hard disk. Once it becomes full, it will go to the second hard disk. Then second becomes full, then it goes to the third hard disk. So that is how normal recording works. Clear? Okay. Now consider this situation. There is only one door in the office. There are 64 people trying to enter that office at the same time. Only one door is there. Is it possible to enter? Not possible. Same way, when you have 64 cameras all recording on one hard disk, that hard disk cannot really handle that. Is the normal recording mode. It cannot handle. Okay. Most of them don't talk about it. We have a feature to overcome this. Why? It is not the problem of the NVR. It is a problem of the hard disk. And who's supplying the hard disk? Hard disk supplier. For any vendor, you take any brand, they will give you built-in hard disk, but the hard disk itself is manufactured by Western Digital, Seagate, or Toshiba, or other brands, right? Now, if you take one hard disk at a time and you're recording, each hard disk there is a speed limit, how much it can rotate, how much it can spin, right? So if you put 4K camera, 60 cameras, and you start recording at 400 mbps, that hard disk cannot write 400 MB data per second. It cannot spin that fast, neither can it record. It can only handle 100 mbps at a time. Okay, so in order to overcome this, most of the brands who give higher throughput, if you see, especially American brands, they will force you to go with RAID 5 compulsory. All right, they will make sure they, of course, they consider as a redundancy. Of course, it's true, but they will force you to go with RAID when you buy their NVRs. Some of them. Why? Because that's how they can compensate this feature. Right? When you go with RAID, all the hard disks will work at the same time. So you'll get the correct throughput. You can record more. You can have, if they say 500 Mbps recording, you can achieve 500 Mbps recording. Okay. Now for us, we give you the flexibility. You can choose. The thing is, the RAID is, if you're buying 10 hard disk and you apply RAID 5, you will lose one hard disk just for RAID. You will only have capacity of 9. If you use RAID 6, you will only have capacity of 8. 25% of the storage is gone just for RAID. So who's at loss? You're at loss. Okay, maybe the project does not require RAID, and because that vendor is forcing you to go with RAID, you may end up giving one more NVR, or you might end up having lesser storage, and you have to try to somehow compensate. Yeah, becomes difficult. For us, you have the flexibility. Okay, you can go with RAID, then you will get the full throughput, no problem. Or we have an option called distributed recording, even without RAID. Today, many projects still don't need RAID. Okay, what is distributed recording? In our NVR, we have the option to activate recording simultaneously in multiple hard disk. So if one hard disk is recording maximum 100 mbps, we can activate multiple groups, up to 4 groups of hard disks we can activate. So you will get the full throughput of the NVR. Okay, so this we call it distributed recording. Very different word. Most brands don't have it, but we have this option to achieve the throughput even without using RAID. So you don't lose any hard disk. If you buy 10 hard disk, 10 terabyte each, you will get full 100 TB. Okay, you will not get 80 or 90. You will get full 100 TB. So that, because of distributed recording. All right. So next point. Okay, one click ID and set a password. Okay, this is straightforward. You can add all the cameras directly to the NVR by discovering auto discovery. You can add. Now I will add 2 more points here. You can add our camera. You can add on with camera. Third party on with camera. You can add. You can also add another type. It's not, if it does not have on with, you can add a camera via RTSP stream, like the raw video stream. You can take from the camera and you can add. Every video device which can stream video, it sends via certain protocol, RTP I believe. So you can stream that video and record it directly on the NVR. Okay, grouping, that's okay. You can group cameras, all that is fine. Okay, in the NVR, certain projects require mobile access. We have both DDNS or P2P. DDNS or P2P. P2P means you don't have to do this extra effort of port forwarding in your router. You don't have to worry about the IP address changing. You don't have to worry about that. Each device has a unique code. It is directly connected to the cloud, and then it does the forwarding. So you can just scan that QR code. I think some of you know, you can scan the QR code. It will directly connect to the NVR over the internet. Okay, this you have to enable. You have to say yes, I want to use this feature. Okay, all right. Dual recording. This is also an interesting feature to have, but not commonly used. The reason is dual recording means you will record twice. No one wants to record twice. Okay, why do we record twice? We have the feature to record in high resolution as well as low resolution. Okay, if your NVRs are in a remote location and you have network issue, you have network over the radio, you have network over limited bandwidth, and you want to play back. In that case, if you have high resolution, you can't really play back the video from remote locations. So we have the option called dual recording. So when you go to the site, you can play full resolution, but when you're outside on a remote network, the NVR will play the secondary resolution, which is half megapixel. Okay, so that feature is there. If you need only, you can activate and turn it on. Otherwise, most projects we just keep it as off. All right. Okay, so what you're looking at is the live interface. You can, if you have events, AI events or normal events, they just pop up on the left side. Camera layout is on the right side. Now, what I'm trying to emphasize here is the interface is not old school. The interface is fully redesigned. It looks as if you're working in a Windows machine, right? It on our latest Windows software. So it has been redesigned to keep that in mind, modern interface in mind, people usability in mind, flexibility, easy to learn and apply. It's not complicated. It's not a software that was, we're still running with a 10-year-old software. It's not like that. It's been updated, and yeah, people will like it. Next is, yeah, when you drag and drop, you can quickly do playback, you can export functions, you have all that availability. You also have dynamic icons. If you have wiper camera, you can control the wiper. If you have PTZ, you have these extra buttons to activate the PTZ function. So depending on that, the icons will change. All right. Uh, Yeah, another point from the NVR, you can open the web page of the camera for any extra settings if required. You don't have to have another laptop on the side. Maybe you want to change some settings on the camera. From the NVR itself, you can make all the camera adjustments, camera settings. Okay, event action. Okay, NVR supports a rule engine or setting rules, events, triggers. What are the events? There are multiple events. Okay, first let's start with the camera. Camera has got analytics, all those person crossing, line crossing, motion detection, tamper detection. These are software events. NVR can receive those events and take action. What is action? Send email, start recording, move the PTZ camera, pop up the camera, mobile push notification. All these are actions. You can take these. Next, another event. Camera has got relay contacts. Even that can be used as an event to trigger action. What other action can you do? Okay. Uh, NVR itself has got relay output. So in case camera offline, you want to send a relay contact from the NVR, you can send a NVR relay contact out as well. Okay, what other events? Manual events. Okay, I have a question. Let me answer that. NVR has Wi-Fi option. Built-in Wi-Fi? No, we have to plug it to the external Wi-Fi. Yes. So NVR built-in Wi-Fi? No. We have a 4G NVR concept. Uh, we have a 4G NVR concept, which is a different series under the X. It is used for, let's say, uh, I mean, different remote locations. They are directly connected with the M2M SIM card, and you can remotely access those NVRs. We have that lineup. If that's what you are looking for, we have a series that is available. But if you're just asking for a normal basic Wi-Fi home NVR, no, we have this professional lineup used by city surveillance. They have the NVRs in different locations where there is no fiber, no internet. I mean, they just have the uh, the Etisalat or the telecom provider. I mean, availability, no direct fiber connection available. So we have that. If you require, it is available. The model number of those NVRs will be ending with letter G, 4G. Okay. What is the throughput, max throughput for Okay, yeah, roughly 400 Mbps on this model. We'll come to that. Okay, what other events are available? Okay, let's see. IVA, Intelligent Video Analytics. It's not just loitering. There are many analytics under IVA. Crossing the line, entering a zone, parking in the wrong area, going in the wrong direction, intrusion, or it can be fog detection, as you can see, tamper detection. You can ask the NVR to send email, pop up, trigger relay contact, shutdown. We will see that later. Okay. Next is manual trigger. What is manual trigger? User command. For example, um, if you are, for example, if you have detected uh, rain, or if you have an external sensor for rain or something like that, and you want to trigger, okay, if you don't have sensor also, it's okay. If there is rain and you want to trigger the wiper option in the NVR, or you want to uh, trigger the relay contact manually from the NVR. So the operator is looking at the screen. He knows who the car is. He knows the person. He wants to manually open the relay. So you can have this manual button to trigger a command. Basically, it sends a script to the camera and to do some function. Why is this? Maybe all actions are not available. Some of them you can also create based on certain special projects. Okay, so for the example was here, wiper function. You want to send a command to another device with a which can which is to trigger a relay. Okay, maybe another camera is connected to the relay. Whatever be the case, you can send a CGI script or you can send a command. Next is playback. Okay, you can have timelines. Timelines are colored depending on the event, and you can export it with a password. You can export without a password. You can have it that way as well. Next is POS integration. What is POS? Point of sale. So if your NVR is connected to the retail or connected to the bank ATM, you can have those transactions printed on the video. So when they search for a specific transaction number, maybe some incident occurred or somebody lost the ATM card, they want to do evidence search, they will just check with this particular transaction ID at this particular time, show me all the events, and when they click on those events, the video will play. Okay, you can search for show me all the transactions which is over $5,000, then all those events will play. Based on that also you can uh, pull the relevant video, relevant recording. Okay, very powerful for retail and banking. Sometimes it was also used for NPR. You know, um, number plate cameras, they don't record; they only send the data. So we can map that number plate data with the video. So when they click on that number plate, when they search for the number plate, they can go back and check the video. Okay, so basically you can inject text data into the camera and bookmark the video accordingly. All right, AI, artificial intelligence. If your camera supports AI, artificial intelligence, if your camera supports, you can do all this. You can search by male, you can search by person wearing hat, bag, glasses, whether he's what is the shirt color, what is the car type, bus, truck, what is the color of the car. Based on that, you can search, no problem. If you don't have an AI camera, in that case, you can use our P series and it can do this function also. It can create AI metadata for those cameras. Okay, now what is the condition in this case? If you use our P series, it can convert our camera, our non-AI camera. Okay, so that is a catch. Wisenet AI camera. Okay, sorry, Wisenet non-AI camera, it can convert. next is support tool. We will see this. Once you have an NVR in the project, maybe you have one NVR, maybe you have five, maybe you have 20, maybe you have like the bank project, they have 800 NVRs across different branches. It can be as many. Now, when you have multiple NVRs and you need a centralized viewing experience. What is the meaning of this? You will have operator in the control room will have one or two monitors. He should be able to see all the NVRs together. He should be able to do playback, live view, export all together. He logs into the client. It's as if he logged into all the NVRs simultaneously. Okay, there are two ways to do it. There are two software which can do it. Both are free to use, and it depends on how much complexity you want. Okay, the first software is Wisenet viewer. This is a very simple viewing software. You can buy a PC, install the viewer, add all the NVR to it, do playback, remote action. So for example, here you see multi-event action trigger. So simply, if NVR1 sends an event, you can take action on NVR2. Okay, maybe NVR hard disk failed. That can be as an event. Yeah, I wanted to mention this. Not only cameras can create events, NVR also can create events. Power failure, fan failure, network port issue, or hard disk issue. It can also send events. So all these events you can see together in one interface. It's called Wisenet Viewer. Okay, done. What is the benefit of Wisenet Viewer? It is multi OS. You can use with Mac, you can use with Windows. It says Linux also, so okay, you can also use it with Linux. Not many people use for a client Linux, but it supports. This is your basic simple viewer done. There is another set of viewing experience that is called SSM, Wisenet SSM. It is a VMS platform. Okay, you have to understand why you will use viewer, when you will use SSM. If you want, if you want integration to access control, okay, if you want video wall, video wall functionality where you will have 16 monitors, you want to control any 16 monitor, you want to merge cameras. If you want these two extra function, then you go with SSM VMS. It is a full-fledged VMS, but because you already purchased our NVR, it is free to use. Okay, so you have actually more flexibility here. You can, even for a small project, you can use with one NVR, you can use SSM or viewer. With 100 NVR, with a viewer or SSM, you have both options. Okay, now I will explain. Viewer, there is not much to explain. It's a basic viewer. You can have the schematic here. You have a laptop, you have cameras and or NVRs across different network. Just connect everything. Okay, then you can do search functionality. All that is okay. Wisenet mobile is fine. Okay, we'll come to that section. Let's talk about the viewer. Prices. Yeah, just a second. Go NVR. Okay. Yeah. So here it is. This is SSM. Wisenet Smart Security Manager. This is a server client architecture. Why would you need it? If you want to integrate with access control, you want to receive a pop-up after integration. Can be many brands. We are integrated with many brands. I will come to that. If you want to do this, we can use the SSM VMS as a viewing software. You can have mapping. If you need mapping interface, cameras, door icons, if you need that, you go with SSM. And if you need video wall function, you would go with SSM. And failover. Okay, I will explain that failover shortly. So here I have a camera NVR, camera NVR. So there are 6 NVRs in the project, and there is one PC with 3 monitors. No problem. What you do is buy one additional workstation, install SSM manager or SSM application on this, and you can have this client PC connected to the server. He can get live view playback of the entire system of all the NVRs. Okay, failover for the viewing software also if you want failover. Okay, no need to pay extra license. It's also freely included because you already purchased our NVR. Okay, so let's say some incident occurred where the this server failed. Recording is happening on the NVR, no issue, but the viewer is connected to the server, right? So what if this server is down, where all the NVRs are routed, okay, or connected? Okay, in this case, you can have another server standby and failover. So in the case of the primary server failure, all the NVRs will automatically transfer their connection to the standby server, and the client will finally get live view playback from the standby server. Okay, if you want one more failover, you can add one more. So if this fails, again it will transfer. So this functionality also is free to use and available. You get a full-fledged, a VMS environment using our SSM that is available. Or if the customer does not require all this complex or even advanced failover function, you can use a viewer, a basic viewer, which is also nice. It is good for your centralized monitoring that can be used as well. Okay, so both options are available to the customer. Now we will take a break for 15 minutes, or sorry, 10 minutes, and then we will come back and do the rest of the part, how to estimate from the toolbox, how to do storage calculation. We will see that in our after the break. Okay, let's continue. Hi, Imran, you have a question? You can unmute and ask. Send unmute. Okay. All right, so let's go forward. Security, reliability, we have 4 sections. I covered 2, but I'm going to cover the remaining device certificate. Simply put, all our products, they have a built-in Hanwha signed certificate in the product. Camera, NVR, so it is done during production. Anytime you can double check whether this product is from Hanwha. Second, so next point is if you are adding another device as a Hanwha device or updating the NVR, the firmwares are encrypted and signed to make sure you are updating the correct firmware to the NVR or software update to the NVR. Then we saw the failover concept. Cameras are normally recording. In case of a failure of the normal NVR, it transfer to the second one. We have seen that. Auto recovery backup also we have seen. Okay. Now, some details about the NVR. So starting with the P series, max 64 channel, 400 Mbps. All right. Again, look closely. It says a recording bandwidth. Recording separate, live view separate. So you have 400 for recording. Then from the NVR, there is output. You can stream video, playback, everything, right? So that is another 400. So we are using the full capacity of the network port, roughly, yeah. So it's not all inclusive 400. Recording only is 400. Done. Okay. Because this NVR is P and it is AI NVR, it can do object detection. It itself can do human vehicle detection. We have a separate ANPR camera, so I wouldn't recommend this. It has a built-in feature, but I would recommend that you go with a separate ANPR camera. Next, we saw this hard disk. Uh, how to choose the hard disk? We have a recommended list of hard disk. I will explain that also, how to select, how to choose. It can go up to 160, that's okay. SATA is there. Okay, where is the SATA rate? Okay, SKZ. Okay, this is not mentioned in this. Okay, then we have X series, also similar, except you will not find object detection. Camera should do it. If you use X series, then you can search for person, shirt color, pant color, analytics. That can be done, but camera should do it. In P series, NVR itself can do it from the server side or the NVR side. Okay, I don't see much difference here. So simply put, from 64 channel to 32, and then you will see 16 4 channel. You see the letter S at the end, letter S. S means PoE switch. So PoE budget 200 watt. So S means PoE switch. In case there is no S, that means it's not a PoE NVR. Okay. You have Q series. Okay. All right. Okay, now let's see how to go about finding the catalog of the product, how to find additional details about the product, such as data sheets, manuals, certificates, then how to do the selection for a project, then how to add a VMS to it to complete your system design. Okay. First thing, uh, which is our website? How do you find it? Just simply go to google.com, search for Hanwha Security. The first website, Hanwha Vision. Go to the Hanwha Vision website, hanwhavision.com, Security Global Leader. So that is the global website. Sometimes you might have a different language where you are logging in from. You can click a region, select HQ English. This is what we use. Okay, it says Asia Pacific. This is what we use. Go for this. All right. After that, NVRs come under products. Products, camera. So you can see in the products we have camera, NVR, so many things. So it comes under products. Under products, video recorder. Under video recorder, it comes under NVR category. Okay, so this is one. You don't have to go to this specifically now. This is just for your information. Second thing that you should know is download center. Click on this product data. Okay, don't worry. Just go to support data center catalog. Again, let me repeat support data center catalog. What do you find? You will find the full set of cameras NVR, the entire catalog. You will find it under product portfolio 2023. You can download it. Don't need to go for web view. You can click on download. It will download the latest one. Done. Next, um, toolbox. And before that, we will also see if ever you already know which NVR you need. For example, XRN 6410 DB4. Okay, I will be teaching you how to find this model. But let's say if you already know, in this case, what can you get more? When you search for that model number and it takes you to the product page, just like the camera, you can download the certification. So when you're doing submittals, when you're doing project submission, you are asked for test reports. All of these reports are available. Second, if you want to do compliance and you are not sure whether that feature is there, click on quick guide and open this document. It's as if you have the NVR with you. This document has the snapshot of every single page in the NVR interface, and it tells and explains how things work. Okay, this and the manual. Sorry, you need to have both manual also. Okay, you need to have these two. Whatever features are there in the NVR will be here. So for your compliance, it will be useful. Datasheet. Okay. Um, Datasheet. What is the purpose of datasheet? Of course, it has one extra level of information. What is that extra level? What is the power consumption? What is the number of here you will find recording bandwidth. See here, distributed mode, normal mode. You will find first monitor. What is the display? 4K. Behind the NVR, there's HDMI. So what is the spec of the HDMI port? It can support 4K output. Second HDMI is full HD. How many cameras you can see? 64 cameras at a time. What is the resolution of a live view? Okay, from the NVR directly. If you use a separate PC, it's different. This is directly from the NVR. Then what else? You can add on with camera also. So when you need this extra detail, how many playback cameras? You can playback 64 cameras. What else? iSCSI, external storage. So one of you asked the question, what if the storage is full? You can have an external iSCSI storage connected to expand the storage. No problem. Okay, it is vendor agnostic. We are not saying only one vendor will work, that vendor will not work. Vendor agnostic. Next, what else? Uh, Protocols, DDNS. If you need any extra information, that will be mentioned. Failover, what else? Power consumption. There is here 260 watts. So these are required somewhere in the project stage. Someone will ask you, what is the power consumption of your NVR? I want to make sure there is enough power available. Okay, so all this extra stuff you can get it from the data sheet. Done. Okay. If you need lesser, you can open the catalog. It will have slightly less information. Okay. Next is how to select camera NVR for your project. Okay. For that, go to Toolbox Plus. Okay. Once you go to Toolbox Plus, the first step is, of course, for your project, you should start with a camera. So today is an NVR course, but previously we have covered in the camera part, but I will explain by taking one sample camera how to do the calculation. So if your project has a recording of 2 megapixel or 3 megapixel or 4 megapixel, all you have to do is find one camera in that resolution. How to do that? Click on network camera. Click on network camera. Okay. When you go first to the toolbox, how do you go? Click in your home page anywhere, you'll find Toolbox Plus. You have it on the right side. You go to support, you'll find Toolbox Plus. You go to products, you'll find Toolbox Plus. So you will not miss it on the web page for sure. Click on this. After that, once you open the toolbox dedicated page, click on network camera. Do not forget this step, because if you go to all, you won't find the option to do filter. Click on network camera, click on filter, select the resolution. So I'm going to record 2 megapixel. Just select any 2 megapixel dome camera, and then you say what else? Okay, just take any camera from here, no problem. Take any camera, and I'm going to take an example of 100 cameras. So click calculate. Okay, again click calculate. Okay, once you click calculate, uh, enter the quantity of camera. Let's say 100 cameras, and I will start with 30 days. Maybe next we will do a 90-day example. If they need spare 10%, make it 33. If they want 20% spare, make 36, like that. You change accordingly. Okay, 100 cameras, done. Then click on the settings. By default, it is automatically calculated the storage as 42 terabyte for 30 days, 100 cameras. But you need to click on the settings to make sure that that camera is correctly recording as per your regulation. Okay, click on settings. Now it will open up this page. The first part is the retail. Here we don't change anything. We just leave it as it is. Why? Because retail already is 100%. Not much to change. Yeah. Unless you have a very idle building, data center or perimeter projects where activity is very low, you don't have to bother much about this. Okay. Go to the light. Again, you don't have to bother on this when the lights are on, when the lights are off. By default, it is in the best setting or most suitable setting. Go to the next one, recording parameter. This is where you have to touch. Currently, it is recording continuously as well as motion. But if you take CERA regulation, or if you take certain country regulation, you have to do continuous recording for 24 hours. Okay. If you go to Kuwait, it says motion recording 24 hours. So it depends on your region. So let's say I am having a spec which says continuous recording. I click on setup, then it will open another page. Here, the first section is continuous from 10 a.m. to night 11 p.m. Motion recording from 11 p.m. to morning 10 a.m. So I'm going to make the night recording from motion to continuous. So entirely now it is continuous. If you need to add motion recording, for example, let's say I change my mind and I want to do motion recording for 6 hours in the early morning, I can add that. So midnight to early morning 6 motion recording, you can do that, or you can make it full time continuous. Okay, done. Then scroll down, check the resolution. Is it as per your requirement? Okay, good. Is the codec better? At the moment it is H.264, make it H.265. That will give you better storage. Then frame rate, 30 frames. Most regions are recording at either 12 or 15 frames, so I'm going to keep it as 15 or 12. Done. Substream. This is your dual recording. We don't do dual recording, so leave it. No need for this. Wisestream is a proprietary encoding capacity which you will apply on top of H.265. You know, some people call it H.265 plus, H.264 plus. So this is this extra compression if you need. If your project is uh, having too many cameras and you know that it's not that active, people sleep at night and activity is reduced at night time. In that case, you can go ahead and activate Wisestream medium, or if it is a school project or office where it is closed for 50% of the time, 12 hours it is closed, so very little activity, you can go high. But for most projects you can go medium. If you're not sure, at least you can go with low or medium. Okay, all right, you can go with medium here. Done. Then close. So my storage currently is 40 terabyte for 100 cameras. Okay, 30-day record. Next step is how to do clarity of the image. Okay, no, Wisestream, the benefit of Wisestream is if there is an activity, automatically it will increase the bandwidth. It will not go above the set limit. When there is no activity, it will reduce the bandwidth. So when you say impact is if someone is there in the scene, that is an impact and you want to capture him clearly, right? So automatically that time it will increase itself. Okay, so let me give you a small brief. Okay, just watch this video. This is a real recording, a 6 megapixel camera. On the left side, it is consuming 4 Mbps without voice stream. On the right side, you can see it is uh, zero point 0.1 Mbps. Okay, we are not going to use the same in the calculator because it's very aggressive, voice stream high. Okay, we are not going to use the same. We will reduce little only in the calculator, but it can even go to zero point 0.1 Mbps. Okay, when there is a person walking in, automatically it will switch to 2 Mbps or 2.5 Mbps for a 6 megapixel camera, which is decent, right? So this is a normal occurrence in any CCTV project. So you can use Wisestream when there is an activity, automatically it will increase the bandwidth, so you don't lose the clarity on that part. Okay, so it is a usable technology. Instead of forcefully reducing, you let the camera decide. So that's why it is usable technology. Okay, so back here, frame rates will not reduce, your recording will not stop continuously, it will record even if you use voice stream. Okay, now done. uh, so 30 days. Okay, now next step is go to NVR. How did I go? Click on the arrow, go to NVR. Okay, your NVRs all have the letter XRN. XRN. Okay, above 64 is P, letter P. This is recording service. We are not talking about it today. We're talking about normal standard NVR. Okay, so here XRN, 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 so many XRN is there. I'm going to add everything because I have 100 camera. I'm going with 64 channel. P series I don't need because they are AI NVR. They will do conversion of camera to AI. I don't want to do any conversion. So I will just select between this four number of X series. How to do that? Decision making. Click on them, add everything, and click on the checkbox to do a comparison. So I will click on all four. Then you can see this comparison button. I don't know if you can see it on your screen. I'm going to make a small arrow to explain this. Check it here. Here. Okay. I think you can see there is one comparison button. Okay. Click, compare. The differences are highlighted in orange. You can see the difference. First one is 8 hard disk. Because I'm recording 30 days, 8 hard disk is enough. Okay, done. Scroll down. There is one more 8 hard disk option. Okay, I need to decide between these two, which one is suitable. Keep scrolling down. The first one supports RAID 5, RAID 6. The third one, it is also 8 hard disk, but does not have RAID 5, RAID 6. Okay, so let's say I want RAID 5, so I will select the first one because for this today's example, let's say I want to do a RAID 5 based NVR. Okay, so the first one XRN6410 RB2. I will select that. Remaining, remove. Okay, click calculate. After that, click on NVR once again. Okay, NVR, the third tab, NVR. Okay, you see the exclamation mark. So one NVR is not enough for 100 camera. That's why you see this exclamation mark. So increase the NVR quantity. Okay, fixed. Storage. Currently, each the NVR has got 4 terabyte hard disk inside. Again, you can go up to 10. So I will start with 8. If I use 8 terabyte hard disk, I need only 3 quantity. If I use 10 terabyte, I need 2 quantity. So I will go with 10 terabyte. I need 2 NVRs, each with roughly 2 hard disk of 10 terabyte each. Done. Okay. Now this hard disk you have to buy also from the market or from the distributor. We have the recommended list. How to find the recommended list? Go on the top, go back to the website, click on support, then go to data center, HDD compatibility. Again, go to the website. Most of our requirement is under support. For example, data center, toolbox, everything is under support itself. Okay, so go to data center, HDD compatibility. Scroll down, download the latest version, open this file. Okay, you have your NVR model, right? Already selected. So XRN6410RB2. Search for that NVR in this list. Control F, type XRN-6410RB2. Okay, just notice XRN6410 is available. It is the same hard disk which will be used even if you use 32 channel, even if you use PRN32. So all these NVRs, if you need hard disk, it will you can use XRN itself. Whatever hard disk is compatible with XRN6410 is also compatible with this. Again, I will explain this point later. Okay, right now your NVR, you have searched for it. Keep clicking, keep searching, then it will take you to the hard disk page. Okay, you have your tick box. Check for 10 terabyte. So right now 6. Keep searching. Okay, here it is. 10 terabyte. XRN6410 non-RAID Skyhawk ST1000. Seagate, this model will work. Then if you keep searching, you will find Western Digital also. Keep searching. Here it is. Western Digital Purple. It's suitable for with RAID or without RAID. So you can use any of this 10 terabyte model or equivalent of this model you can use. Okay, done. So select this hard disk and purchase this from the local market. So let's say you have another NVR 32 channel. When you click next, you will only find only one instance, only this. So in this case, you have to search for 64 channel. Maybe you have a 32 channel. Whatever is suitable for 64 is also suitable for all these models. That's what it's trying to say. Okay, so if you go up, group, list. Okay, so if you buy hard disk for 820 is also suitable for 420. So anyway, this is mentioned in the compatibility sheet. Okay, go back to toolbox. Your hard disk is selected, that you will add it to your line item. Okay, now let's say I want RAID. Okay, be very careful here. When you activate RAID, you have to redo the hard disk selection. Okay, for activating RAID, you need a minimum number of hard disk. Two is not enough. So again, select the hard disk. Minimum 5 is required. Okay, now it doesn't make sense for me to buy 10 terabyte because each NVR I have to give at least 5 hard disk according to this calculator. According to this NVR, for RAID 5 minimum I need to insert 5 hard disk. So what I can do here is uh, go with a lower size. Still I need only 5. So you can reduce the price of your hard disk by going with a lower TB. Let's say even lower. No, not recommended. Go with 6. 5 hard disk required. Okay. What about RAID 6? Check again. 6 hard disk required. Okay. If you go with 8, also 6. So whenever you change the RAID, just please make sure you double click on your hard disk selection so it will get updated. That's all. Okay, now after all this effort, you can save your project as ABC. You can click on the save button, it will get saved. Tomorrow you can make some adjustment as you like. Click on the report, you will find your report, camera, NVR report, how many hard disk, quantity. You can click on bandwidth. You can check the full details of the camera by camera, how much storage is taking, how many NVRs you have, so on. If you have failover, don't forget you need to add one more. Just click plus button here next to the middle right of the screen, plus add one more NVR, n plus one failover. Okay. All right, so that is all about the NVR selection. Next, we will see how to use a viewing software. Okay, there are two viewing software, Wisenet Viewer. Wisenet Viewer, straightforward. All you have to do is, if you have two NVR, buy one PC, you see, install Wisenet Viewer. The species should be i7 16 GB RAM, and every monitor you give 1 GB graphics card. Simple. Okay, done. How many ever PC you have, you can add. Another option. This is the most commonly used for our region because you can have the viewing in Arabic language. You can change the interface Arabic. You can integrate to access control. You have mapping interface. Okay, we will be adding this in Wisenet Viewer soon, but at the moment, SSM does this failover of viewing server. So if you have two clients, and yeah, if one fails or if that one server fails, all the clients can still have access. It will automatically fail over to the next one. Even viewer is it's directly connecting to the NVR. It is there, but it's not a failover system. It's directly connecting to the NVR. This is a server client architecture. especially good for larger projects, 400, 500 cameras, 300 cameras. You can use SSM. It can be more suitable. Okay. Okay. Now, how to design? Let's say I have 500 cameras recording on NVR. So 500 divided by 64 channel. So I require around 8 NVRs, and I will take XRN 6410. Like I said, most of the projects will be in XRN. So I kind of remember B2 means 8 hard disk, B4 means 4 hard disk. If I put DB4, dual power supply. Okay. So B2 into 8 local hard disk I will purchase from the recommended list. Okay, done. So NVR side is done. Now how to add your VMS? VMS setup. First you need one SSM PC management. Okay, you can call it management or core or server, whatever word you can call it. i7 16 GB RAM. Okay, and install SSM on this SSM server. Okay, then let's say there are operators, 5 operators. In this case, you will have another 5 PC i7 60 GB RAM. Every monitor 1 GB graphics card. So 2 monitors, 2 GB graphics card. Okay. After this, install SSM client here in each PC. Done. Okay. All the clients will be speaking directly to the core server. If the core server fails, all the clients will lose the communication. If you want, you can have plus one additional one more plus one more SSM PC for management in failover mode. Any licenses for any of this? No licenses. For client PC, no licenses. Basically, you don't have to pay for any license. What about viewer? Viewer also no license. Okay. Okay. So this is your typical setup. You have cameras, you have NVRs. Want to use VMS, SSM VMS, buy one PC, install SSM management on it. This is a spec. Another for each client you will have, depending on uh, the client monitors, you have to add the graphics card. Now one SSM management can handle 3000 cameras over NVR. So you can each so NVR quantity, if you use 64 channel, it will be around 40 plus. If you use 32 channel, maybe 80 plus. So it depends on the NVR channel, but overall 3000 cameras, one SSM server can handle over the NVR. Okay. If you have 6000, add one more. It will make 6000. Is SSM server mandatory? Not really, not mandatory at all. This is if they want. Why you need SSM? For centralized viewing experience. If you want to directly connect the monitor behind the NVR for each NVR, no problem. No need to buy SSM. But if there are 10 NVR and the operator has only 2 monitors, he wants to see everything together, then you have to install SSM or Wisenet viewer. Any one you have to install in that case. Again, if there are 10 NVRs and there are only 2 operators, 2 monitors, then you have to bring together all of them, right? In that case, you will use either viewer or SSM. Okay. Now, SSM for small projects, you don't have to buy 2 PCs. If there is, for example, 2 NVR, 128 channel, centralized viewing is required, and they want mapping. In this case, you can just buy one PC with and install SSM server and client in the same PC. For up to 128 channel, you can merge SSM in one PC itself, no problem. Okay, so it is a flexible VMS. You can use it with server client or both in one PC also, it's possible. Okay. Or if they don't want mapping, you can use Wisenet viewer, or they don't want any Arabic interface or anything that is integration is not required. In that case, just use Wisenet viewer. Or overall, if the customer says, I don't need any PC, directly connect the monitor behind the NVR, forget about all of this. Directly behind the monitor, there's two HDMI port, connect a keyboard, mouse, and connect the monitor. That also will work. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to revise what we learned on the NVR backend part. When you have multiple NVRs and they want some kind of server client architecture, you will buy one SSM PC, install, add all the NVRs to it, and you can have multiple clients. Up to 20 clients you can have, 20 for one. If you want 40, add one more SSM PC, management PC. So 20 is more than enough for most project. If you want failover, you can have another SSM management PC. It will automatically transfer all the NVR to the second management PC in case the first one fails. And yeah, so roughly speaking, each SSM server can handle 3000 cameras through the NVR, and you can have around 28 servers. You can have total 10,000 cameras. So each is 3000, so 3 or 4 itself is more than enough. Then up to 20 clients per server. It can be mobile client or PC client, 20 clients. Each PC you can connect up to 4 monitors. If you have 6 monitors, you need 2 PCs. And the spec is mentioned here. I'll be giving this data PPT to you for your reference. i7 16 GB RAM for the client, i7 16 GB RAM. Each monitor, every 2 monitor, 2 GB graphics card. Model numbers here. SSM server and client. It will even install in Windows 10, Windows 11. Okay, so don't have to worry. If you want Windows Server, you can use it. So it's flexible in that way. You can install in both. And here is an example. I have 1500 cameras on NVR. I want to centralize the viewing. Only one client PC I have, or 2 or 20, doesn't matter. One server you install, add all the NVR, install the free license actually. You don't have to pay for it. That's it. So Wisenet viewer, also same setup, only the software is different. All right, so if you have any further questions, let me know. I'll be online. Otherwise, session is completed. You can expect an email from me with exam link. Before 22nd of May, you can complete. As soon as you register, you will get to, you will see before this date, please attempt the exam. So take your time, attempt. Just keep in mind, if you need failover, add one more. And the failover NVR should be the same model number. Hard disk, how to select, and and then what else? Feature on web camera you can add. So all these points that we talked about, only based on that you will get the question. Yeah, the PPT will be shared as well for sure. Yes, and recording also will be shared. All right, so if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, feel free to disconnect anytime.